Hey folks, Eric the old jarhead here. So I had this customer with a badly checked maple that they'd felled about 2 years ago and cut into some smaller logs, but it had been sitting around for that couple years in some heat and it was pretty badly checked. And I didn't want to show up on site and mill it up for him and only find out that there really wasn't any good lumber in it, or that the checks were so deep that it was just going to cause all kinds of problems. So I suggested that if they just brought me one of the logs, a decent sized log, that I'd go ahead and mill it up at my place, which is something I never do. I don't mill at my house, just not a good location for it. So, this was kind of a rare one-off. Bring the log to me, let's have a look. Let's see what's inside the log and how bad those checks are. So after we got the log to the mill, which they brought it in the back of a Suburban, couple of big guys, they had to work pretty hard to get that log in there, I'm sure. But they got it in there and they brought it out to me and we rolled her up on the mill, and after getting it positioned, and these logs, a short log like this with some hooks in it and whatnot, it's tough to get up there. But we got it up on the mill, and right away I started having some feed problems on the mill. And if you've watched any of my previous videos, you've seen that I've had to tighten up the feed belt on the drive motor, and all of a sudden I started having some feed problems again. So I got through that first phase, opened it up, had a look at it, and thought, well, yeah, the checking's not too bad. It definitely goes in on either end of the log, but it's not too bad. So I thought, well, we'll go ahead and we'll mill this down. But since I had some feed problems, I had to quickly change out a belt on the feed motor so that, it would drive back and forth down the mill.
Nice to finally at least figure out whether or not we can do anything with it. Yeah, this is coming up on 2 years since we got it.
Funny thing, it still wasn't acting quite right, and you kind of see me moving the head back and forth a little bit here. I'm just trying to see, like, okay, I got that belt nice and tight, everything's in there. It was kind of working well enough. I thought, well, I'll get this one log done. So went back at it and started milling it down. Now again, this is a really badly checked log, and there's a hint to what we're going to see right there at the end of the log. You can kind of see that there are two hearts here. There's something in the growing of trees called inosculation, and that's actually where two trees or multiple trees actually grow together. And it's not necessarily the best when it comes to making lumber, but woodworkers can find some use for it. So it'll be interesting to crack this log open and see what it looks like inside. Now, of course, a shorter log like this that's not real straight, it's got some hooks and bends in it, can be a challenge to get it to roll around a little bit. But we'll get it positioned and we'll get this log milled down. After pretty much almost every cut, I'd go ahead and pull off the board that we just cut and take a look at it and kind of get an idea. What are we looking at here? Is this going to yield any quality lumber, anything that we can make anything out of? And surprisingly enough, the checks did kind of go deep into it. But once you got past that first, 8 to 12 inches on either end, you actually get into some good wood. So it was nice to see that there is some actually useful wood in this log. And as we got into it, we also noticed some really nice grain patterns. So they're going to be able to make some pretty neat stuff out of this little log. And again, this is just one log out of the tree that they cut down. And I will tell you that if we actually manage to mill the big log they have, it's about 48 inches across. Now, there's no way you can put a big log like that on this mill. I've done 42 inches a few times. That is a real challenge. So I think with the big log that they have, we're going to have to take my big chainsaw and quarter that log up so that we can actually get it on the mill and mill something out of it. But this log was really the test. Is there any usable lumber in this tree that they felled 2 years ago that's really badly checked? So let's get down to it. Let's knock this thing down. We'll get it milled up and we'll find out what's in this tree, whether or not it's worth working with. And I gotta tell you, it's a little bit of a surprise. All right, we're getting down to the end here. And at that point, I had to kind of position it down a little bit, but we really started knocking out boards out of it. And again, they were actually working out pretty good. We're going to make this final cut, and then we're going to take a look and see what's inside this log, because I will tell you, it is interesting. Check this out, folks. 30 minutes on the nose, look at that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
These little ones can be a little bit, they're a little tricky sometimes just because of especially live edging, because you're fighting the clamps a bit.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy, isn't it?
Is it a splice? Kind of looks like a splice.
Might have been.
I don't know. A post? I don't know what the heck that. I've never seen that. I've seen some weird stuff, but that kind of looks like a splice.
Got one over here too.
Well, that's okay. All right. So that's, you know what that is? Two trees growing in.
Yeah.
This one's a tree that was growing in it. That got cut off. I'll bet that's the same tree, and it got cut off. And the other one just grew over it.
Yeah. So there's an inclusion in that main body. You can see where there was two trees came together at one point. I wonder if it just grew around the other one.
Let's just sit right there so I can put that on camera.
Okay.
Now this is 2 inches. I can take it down more for you.
No.
But I thought you probably could just use a 2
Yeah,
inch or two.
I think that'd be good.
Yeah, look at that.
Whatever you're going to do with it, it's going to be nice. Especially if you get into epoxy. That's crazy. Yeah. I almost think that's what it is that there was another one growing two together and they cut that one off.
Yeah.
And this one just absorbed it. That's crazy. That's beautiful stuff. That's gorgeous. Wow.